Welcome to our channel. I'm Jessica, and this is Sean.
Hey, she got my name right. I'm always surprised because sometimes she sits there and she's like, and then I have to say it, or she thinks about it. She doesn't know who she's in a relationship with, guys.
What? No. I'm...
Speaking of relationships,
All right. Yeah, speaking of relationship.
we were talking about kids
Yeah.
because obviously that's part of
Are
being
we
in a
having
relationship.
kids? Oh my God.
Okay, just because I have a little belly here, which might have gotten bigger after Christmas.
We're having a
Okay, there's a lot
kid
of turkey in this belly, all right?
full of turkey, ham,
Oh,
cheese,
turkey ham. Yeah, what do we have? Cinnamon buns,
cinnamon buns,
cake, chocolate cake.
jam jams. You
Oh,
eat a
jam
lot of
jams.
jam jams.
A lot of people probably don't know what a jam jam is. That's like a 2 layers of a molasses cookie,
And
kind of molasses cookie, a little bit in it, with raspberry jam or some kind of jam in the middle. So you put
yeah.
it like that.
Well, it tastes
It's like
good.
my favorite cookie.
It's very delicious. I like it.
Okay, speaking about kids, because now we got off topic. We were just visiting over the holidays with some family and friends, and
Uh-huh.
specifically one set of our friends, they just recently had a child
Mm-hmm.
a little while ago, just almost 2 months ish. And it's interesting because seeing the changes of who they were before the kid and who they are after the kid is how they've changed is very curious. So, from the woman's perspective, our friend, she used to be extremely career focused, working in a management position. And she was always working late, like really hard worker for the company and stuff. And as soon as she went off on leave and had the child, she's just like, screw this.
Screw the work kind
Yeah,
of thing.
screw the work.
Well, they saying like when you're having a baby is just changing. Like it's very changing. Some people they were saying it's a blessing. At the same time, it's changing for the couple or the partner for having a baby because it brought something new life, something more motivation, something inspiration because you're having a baby
Yeah.
or you
It's,
had a baby kind of thing.
yeah, and so essentially she's just like, hey, work is not a priority for me at all now. What's really important is this child that we have, this baby that we have,
Hmm.
and that became her world. And it was funny because just seeing her care for the child, and then at one point she started to sing or hum. Was it sing? I
Humming,
guess singing.
singing like
Yeah,
humming like
yeah, to
to
the
baby to put asleep or kind of thing.
yeah,
That's
and I
really
was
not my
like, and I
feeling.
heard her voice, and I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just that, like, sweet mom voice, and you're
Hmm.
like, it's the voice that, I don't know, like, I remember you imagine as a child, like, your
Like
mom
you always
over you as a
hearing
kid.
whenever you're baby, like oh I hear all the time. That's when I was baby, mom helps me to keep me fall asleep kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like so, I think that's really instinct when it comes being a mother for a mother which is very responsible mother. Like they more giving priority to the baby. They wanted to become full-time mother as the baby grows until grows kind of thing. They wanted to see or being hands-on until the baby grows up. Like they teaching properly way, having good mother, and so on and so forth.
yeah. It's just, yeah, it's so interesting because you never see your friends in that way because they don't have kids, and then they have kids. You're like, whoa, it's like this complete other side of them, the complete other person comes out.
Hmm.
And now I'm thinking about the father, right? He's always been kind of like a playful guy. So on that side, I thought, oh, he'll be quite playful with the kid, probably like tell the kid stories, like that,
Hmm.
and be silly with the kid. Like he'll be like the fun dad.
Yeah, a
But
cool dad,
yeah,
probably
cool,
cool
cool
dad.
dad. Um, but he also something that was like super like kind of like blew my mind. Well, surprised me is he was very anti-religious. Like he is not a religious person at all. He does not like it. Although he was raised as Roman Catholic, but he doesn't like he's not practicing or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was totally against it. And now that the kid's there, he's like, I think we're going to start going to church because I think it's good to have that foundation because he's thinking of himself and his wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their base level and how they grew up. They had some religious grounding, and with that comes community, which was the big point that he really wanted to drive out was community. So having those people around you who are there to support you, and that's something like I get with
Yeah.
religion. That's something religion does well. It gives you community.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe all the stories in the Bible or whatever, but I totally see the utility in religion in terms of having community.
All right.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
That's very interesting. Especially like having a baby. It's very interesting. Like a lot of changes coming, new motivation coming. Like you really have to be responsible, being a responsible mother or father to your baby as well. That's more important.
Yeah, and it was also funny or coincidental. On our drive home, uh, we were listening to a podcast about attachment styles, and
Yeah.
a lot of people have heard about attachment styles. It's something that they look at in terms of children is really where it comes from. But as you get older, you still find that in an older person, and it's really relevant to dating and relationships, like how they will be in
Yeah.
a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. They were saying like also that um the way how you raise your child, it will be reflect you as well how uh the baby will be as he grows.
Yeah, so as it gets bigger, if you were somebody who was neglectful, like you
Yeah.
didn't, when the baby's crying, you weren't, comforting the baby or giving it
Yeah.
what it needs, it's
Yeah.
gonna grow up to
You
be like that kind of loner kind of kid, like,
right.
okay, I don't need nobody, I'm just gonna go,
Yeah.
you know,
Like right, that's correct. If you're like kind of very responsible mother or father, you will just let the child go whatever they want, and then that's what they were when they grow up. Like, oh, my mother and my father, let's just let it be what I want. Like, no one cares for me. They probably think
yeah.
like no one cares for them, no one loves for them because you let your child grows like letting identify everything without your support, without your care, without your love. So that's how your child will be grow.
A lot of people know that there's multiple attachment styles, like anxious, avoidant, secure, and then anxious and avoidant is like a combo one. I think in this podcast we were listening to, they actually had the anxious wasn't anxious. They used a different word.
Yeah, they use different word. I
I
forgot.
forget what it was now, but it's all based on the same thing. And they were kind of like saying, like, for the anxious kids or the anxious people, they were somebody who was over, like you were over them, like you were either telling them like they're not good enough, like they're not meeting expectations, like you need to do better, like that kind of thing.
Like you need to push hard to get this perfect thing. Like
Yeah,
that.
so then they get very anxious. They're like, oh
They
my
having
God.
pressure and anxious as they started as a kid because you're pushing your child to be more perfect, even though like it's fine to make a mistake. It's fine to make something.
Yeah, and it also kind of blew my mind in that podcast. I remember as they said the people who are avoidant will be the ones who like just like ghost you and just like I'm out, and it's just like you'll never hear from them again, or they just like when you want to get close they pull away, that kind of thing. But for the anxious person, the ones who are like I need your attention, they want to be on
Yeah.
you or with you,
Yeah.
they are the ones who will be violent. The avoidant ones are not going to come and like wife, beat you or hit you or something like that in domestic violence. But it's the anxious ones who are going to be the more aggressive ones, the more
Yeah.
likelihood of being aggressive. And then obviously there's the history of if your parents were disapproving of you or maybe whoever your guardian was, right? And they hit you or something like that. Obviously that will lead to you probably hitting and hurting other people because that's what you experienced. So there's
Yeah.
kind of like degrees, right? You go from somebody who's not wanting to be around the avoidant type, like, hey, this is too much for me, to being in the middle where you're very secure, you're comfortable, to then being a bit anxious, more anxious, okay, like violent.
Yeah.
It's really crazy stuff. And I just think, about us, because we're thinking about having kids,
Yeah.
it's, you have to be those first years, although all the years are important for a child, but really the
Months or
first
years.
years,
Months and years, kind of.
yeah, it's like those first 2, 3, 4 years are so important.
Very
Like,
important. Yeah. Because the kid is starting to learn everything. The kid's starting to know, like, oh, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is how they raised me, this is I should be like this. I know, like, the kid's starting to learn everything. Like,
yeah, you're just a sponge, just everything, you're absorbing it, right?
yeah,
It's wild. But the good news is that we did learn that you can actually change this attachment style and that type of things. If you're a very anxious person or avoidant person, you can change it. It just takes time, and
Takes
probably
time.
you should be in therapy or something, right?
takes time or year or more, a lot of a year.
Yeah.
But
Now,
it's hard.
well, I know for you, I would classify you, and I told you this while we were listening to that, as um, a stable person. Like you're in the middle.
Secure.
Sorry, I said stable. Secure person. Yeah, you are secure. Because I've seen you from a bunch of different sides, and I've never seen you like running away or becoming really clingy. And it's not to say that sometimes you don't worry about stuff or have anxiety about stuff, but it's like you're basically in the middle.
In the middle, like
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Now I know for myself, I was an avoidant, and I'm pretty sure my brother is an avoidant. Like 99% sure. And I would always run out of relationships when somebody would get, if somebody was like really trying to be close to me, I'd be like, after, I don't know, a little while, I'd be like, okay, it's too much. Like, and I'd have to like retreat, and like,
Yeah.
it was just too much. And
Oh yeah, I kind of notice that sometimes.
you kind of feel like that?
Yeah, I kind of notice that sometimes.
Oh, about me?
Yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah, because I probably still have some hangovers. I used to be a lot worse. Yeah, and then I noticed that in different relationships, and I'd always break up with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had relationships over 6 months. I'd be like, I'm out. It's just like, good, cool, see you later. That was like a
Bye.
big thing in my 20s.
Like, why? Like, I'm out, I'm running. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt smothered, like I was losing control of my life and stuff. It's just weird. But it's
You-
something.
But you change, like,
Yeah, I mean, like I saw, just like you're a little bit,
uh,
maybe like a little bit anxious, which is more common for women, and I'm a little bit avoidant or whatever. I think I'm pretty stable or secure now, and I think you're a very secure person. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. And the last thing actually I wanted to mention on this is they were talking statistically. You were saying, well, how many secure people, how many anxious and avoidance and all the stuff there exists? And they say that roughly, it's something like, depending on your country, but they're saying like in North America, I think it was the United States, they're saying about 55-60% of people are secure, with 25% or 30% being anxious, and then
Yeah.
the last 20-25%, whatever, being avoidant. And that, I thought that was interesting. So a lot of people would say, well, hey, we can all find a secure partner, right? Because there's more of them. They're more than half the population. However,
But it's hard to find that person. It's hard
Yeah.
to find kind of secure person.
but they made the point in this research. They were saying, well, look at it this way. When you're younger, yeah, you have more chance because everybody's, not in a relationship. But as
Yeah.
you get older, all the secure people are not going to generally break up in their relationships. Everybody's going to want to like date them.
Yeah.
Assuming you get along and hobbies and all the other stuff. They're more likely going to be dated. They're going to have long-term relationships, 3, 4, 5 years, etc.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be married, so they're going to be out of the dating pool. So most of the time, like the vast majority of the time when you're in online dating, you're dating anxious and avoidant people, because these are the people who couldn't
couldn't
be in a
get
relationship.
a secure one, right?
Yeah. So
So
you yeah, so you end up like, especially as you get older, so you end up in your 30s. You're like, hey, I'm trying to meet somebody, and it's like you just swipe, going to all these dates with these people, and you're like, oh, this is garbage.
yeah,
It's because most of the people
most
are in
people.
this anxious or avoidant category, and not just a little bit. Like they're deep in it.
Right.
That's why they're there. That's why they're so
Because
single.
they couldn't find secure one.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god. Anyways, I thought that was interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe.
Yeah, I hope guys as well you learned something from this video or something from us. And please don't forget to hit the bell notification for any future updates about our video.